Hello, everyone. For those of you watching from afar or close to myself and close to Mark Fennig, I trust all of you. I'm sure, like Mark and I, had a great Mother's Day to celebrate the women in our lives and the mothers in our lives, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I know our weather yesterday, Mark, wasn't as great. It was kind of drizzling, cloudy, but I am certain where you are at, you guys get the blue skies and the sun all day long, right?
Yeah, it was like I would say anywhere between 85 and 86 today.
Oh,
Um,
jealous. Yes.
yeah, you look like you got a coat on, William. Are you cold? Sitting out there by the pool?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
the oxymoron. We had a
yeah.
cool day today, and as I'm sitting in my manifested pool that I want, but you have all the time, there you go.
Hey, what can I say? What can I say? It's the cost of doing business and where you do it.
No other way to say it, Mark. Right on, right on.
Not to rub it, not to rub it in. All right,
Oh, come on.
you know,
You can
so
rub it in. You can
we
rub
have
it in all
sun
day long.
360 days of the year.
Yeah. No,
There's
you can
5 days
rub it
we
in
don't
all day
have
long.
sun. So, and those are the 5 days we take vacation somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Now you can rub it in. You used to be a Midwesterner, so hey, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
So
why I left to come down here.
exactly, exactly. By the way, I will absolutely take you up on it. When I'm coming down to Tampa, where my sister and brother-in-law lives, I'll plan ahead. I'll try my luck. Call you and Amanda beforehand. See if I can get on your calendars.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's only like 2 hours south.
There you
So,
go.
yeah, it's the real Florida.
The
Tampa
real
is like still halfway, halfway. We still call that the north.
You guys are too funny. But then again, let's call it like it is. Then again, Florida, the shape of it as a state, it's a pretty long state. It looks like a tongue.
Oh, it's very long, especially when you're trying to drive out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very long.
All
It's very
right. All right. So, for all of you watching Mark and I do our little banter tonight, kind of egging each other on. Hey, it's what we do as friends and business partners. For all of you watching us tonight, first and foremost, thank you for sharing your time with us again. If you've watched our previous episode, I hope you had a great time. Both Mark and I hope and trust you got some information of value. And certainly, we'll share this toward the end of tonight's episode. But and certainly, when and if Mark, Amanda, his wife, business partner, and myself can be of help to you, we are certainly ready, willing, and able. But for tonight's episode, what I want to ask Mark to do first, because they're real estate brokers. They have their pulse on what's going on in the local market. So, Mark, as we did last time, why don't you lead off with sharing, current trends and a local market update? What's going on there?
So right now, what we're seeing in the market is we're still seeing the tail end of buyers that are still hanging on here after season. Our season is January through about May. That's where our second homes and our snowbirds come down and they head back. So right now, we're seeing the tail end of those buyers that are still buying in the condo market and in the second home market. Right now, we are getting a big influx of investors, though.
Oh, wow.
As the housing inventory kind of creeps up a little bit,
Okay.
prices are starting to come down,
Okay.
and investors are starting to jump in.
There you go. There you go. Do you see maybe days on market for a large section of inventory? Is it staying about the same, or is it going a little
Well,
bit longer?
so it's going to depend on what county you're in.
Okay.
If you're in Collier County, I believe the average days on market there is about 30 to 35 days on market.
Okay.
Lee County realistically, in my opinion, is anywhere from that 45 to 60 days on market.
Okay.
And same with Charlotte County. Now, we will see some homes that are, depending on what area they're in, we may see a little bit higher days on market. However, you're going to have that no matter what market you're in, and depends on what area. But homes are still moving,
Good.
but it also means that we're starting to see a little bit more negotiations, prices starting to come back down a little bit.
Okay.
And but this is Southwest Florida. People come, people go, investors come. So housing here is always it's always strong.
Yeah.
So we're still in a really good market, whether you're buying or selling.
Okay.
We are in a really good market if you are selling in a hotter market, like certain states up north or out west, where they're still seeing highest and best.
Yeah.
So they're still selling at the high, and they're coming here on our downside, where the market's starting to creep down a little bit. So they're really able to have a lot more choices and have a little bit more negotiation. So you can get a lot more house for your money than you could have a year ago.
There you go. There you go. So let me pause here and do a shout out to all of my local friends, connections. For all of you in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Ohio, right? Where Mark and Amanda's old backyard. For all of you who have the reason to sell your home in the upper Midwest because you have a reason to move to Florida, whether it be I need to be close to my new friends, my grandkids, or if it's none of the above, because you simply can work remote, hybrid, and just like Mark and Amanda, you can enjoy the blue skies, the white sands, and those blue waters. You heard it from Mark. It's the time to do it. Sell high and kind of buy lower.
Lower than where we were a year ago.
True.
Where people were fighting, tooth and nail just to get a house. Now, you've got a little bit more options. You got a little bit more breathing room. You can, relax a little bit while you're looking, but don't wait too long because someone's going to come by your house for sure.
True that. Yeah. As I share with a lot of my buyers clients, Mark, I say to them, if you're looking at a home and it's tugging at your heartstrings and maybe at your purse strings, just know someone else is looking at it as well. So there's no time of wasting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So let's now move the conversation to, in your experience, Mark, when you have helped investors, let's start with when you've helped investors buy a second home or truly an investment property. What is generally some advice you put in front of them?
So when you're investing in real estate, it depends on what your ultimate goal is.
Okay.
Are you looking for something just long term where you're going to put an annual tenant in there and you want to just maximize your ROI? Or are you buying an investment property that you're going to turn into a short term rental where you may occupy the property from time to time, but you're primarily going to just rent it out and do more of a short term rental on it, anywhere from 6 days to 7 days.
Right.
So it really depends on what they're looking to do.
Okay.
One can change. If one doesn't work, you can always switch it to another. However, going in, it is nice to have a plan of action.
You said it. You got to have a plan of action. In your opinion, Mark, are there some what I call misperceptions from first-time investors who want to do what they want to do as they start that conversation with you?
Yeah. So the biggest one I get is people come down here in Southwest Florida and they're like, I want to buy an investment property and I want it to be close to the beach.
Right.
It's got to be close to the beach. Otherwise, it's not going to make any money.
Right.
Well, you got that perception, and you're correct that it may not make you as much money, but it's also going to cost you more money on the front side. So
Right.
you're going to have to spend more money because you want the location closer to the beach, and not everybody necessarily wants that location closer to the beach price.
Right. Right.
So in my experience here in Southwest Florida, location is key, yes, but don't think very short-sighted that it has to be like within walking distance or it's got to be within 10 minutes to the beach. You have to go where the inventory is at and where the price is at in the budget.
Right.
And then from there, you can kind of, you have to look at other areas around where the house is at, like entertainment.
Yes.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry. It's getting a little bit of background noise. So in my experience, wherever you're purchasing a house, yes, you want it to be close proximity, but not everybody that comes to Southwest Florida, because we're in the Southwest Florida market here. For us, people like the beach. They like to go fishing.
Yeah.
They like the entertainment, the restaurants, and the shops.
Yeah.
And then they want, like your local attractions at your water parks or whatnot, or you want to go to a Red Sox game, or you want to go to, it depends on what you want to do while you're here for maybe your, let's say, week stay. So,
Right.
So when I say short term, because we're kind of talking more about short term, you kind of want it in close proximity to that, but it doesn't have to lean one way or the other.
True.
You want it to be within drivable distance that's comfortable, but we get people that come down here and they'd never go to the beach at all. They're not beach people.
Yeah.
So they're going to be exploring the other areas as far as shopping and restaurants and, hanging out at the local joints. But they never even go to the beach.
Yeah.
So,
they may be golf people or pickleball people.
Exactly. So you want it to be relatively close,
Right?
But you also have to look at what's the cost that I can get the house for, and then what can I potentially make monthly on this house, and then you have to run your ROI that way.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. On my side of the business, Mark, I'll share an answer to that same question I asked, which is, what are some common misperceptions, right? A common misperception for the truly investment property is sometimes the amount of the down payment of what they're about to purchase. And this is where sometimes I have to set the proper expectation with them. And that is, if the subject property that you're looking at with Mark is going to be a 1-unit condo townhome or a single family home, the minimum down payment is going to be 20%.
Yeah.
And if it happens to be, for example, a duplex, tri, or 4, it can step up a little bit more from there, right? I think one of the things that I try to inform and coach some potential investors to is, look at it this way. If you've got the substantial equity in your primary home, if it happens to be in the upper Midwest, where you used to live and where I currently live, then you could certainly carve out some of that equity to turn in to your downstroke, and then you just borrow the rest on the subject property in Florida. So just sharing with you, at least from my side of the business, sometimes what are some misperceptions. The next is, hey, if I'm going to do the STR, the short-term rental, or the annual traditional lease to a tenant, can I use that income, that rental income? And the answer is yes. But just like you said at the start of this conversation, tonight's episode, you got to have a plan, because the plan is going to dictate, unless you're paying cash for the property, what source of financing is the best fit, the best match for the plan in front of you. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then, another angle is, if maybe you're not planning to be an investor immediately, you could certainly house hack.
Yeah.
That is, just move yourself down there to where Mark and Amanda are spending most of their time, with all of the shops, the sports, the entertainment stuff. At least live in the property for a year as your primary residence, and then you could turn that same property as an investment down the road for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I did.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We actually stayed. We actually lived there for 2 years.
Okay.
And then we actually bought another house, and we turned that one into a short-term rental.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice way to house hack and kind of build your personal long-term wealth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's now talk about the other side of your business, which I know you and Amanda are very active with, and that is helping sellers, right, sell their Floridian property along the southwest coast there. When you are representing a seller, can you speak to our audience members tonight as to how do you go about choosing the right buyer and the right buyer's offer? What are some of the things you look for?
Well, one, I really like to talk to the agent. I like to talk to their agent, and then, like, let's say I get an offer in.
Yep.
I really like to at least talk to the agent and kind of get an understanding. What do they know about their buyer? How long have they been working with them? Did they just meet him yesterday and they decided to go buy a house today? I want to know, are they kind of flaky? Yeah, and it doesn't mean that I won't accept the offer.
True.
It just means I want to get a little bit more detail, because I've got a seller that I have to go back to, and the seller is going to ask me, well, what do you know about the buyer? What do you know about the agent? How strong is the offer? How strong do you feel about the client buying it?
Yeah.
Are they buying it on an as-is contract? Are they buying it on a standard contract?
Yeah.
They want to know that they're going to go through this process for the next 30 days, that it's going to be committed. They don't want to go on and off the market just because a buyer decides to change their mind 2 days in.
True.
Does it happen? Yes. We can only do so much as real estate agents to try to vet people out. And so we kind of try to do as much due diligence as far as we can, as far as, looking over the pre-approvals. Are they just pre-qualified? Or are they pre-approved? Who's their lender? Right. Is it a lender? Is it a Rocket Mortgage that they just went online and got the application done? Or did they, actually go to, a lender has a little bit more value behind them? Maybe I might reach out to the lender and just say, hey, how does this pre-approval look? What all did you guys get qualified? I see here that you guys didn't verify their income, or, you don't even have bank statements yet. You don't have anything. How far in depth did you go? And as a lender, you can only turn over so much information.
True.
However, I'm working with an agent and I'm going to be working with the lender. I want to make sure everybody's confident that the deal is going to go through for my seller.
Yeah. And as I share with a lot of my business partners, and perhaps I've shared this with you in our previous conversations, Mark. Real estate is a team sport. You got to make sure you got the team on the field, moving that ball to the end zone.
That's right. Everybody wants to move in the same direction.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nobody wants to go back the other direction. Although, you might take 2 steps forwards, 3 steps back, and then you go back forward. However, everybody wants to ultimately end up in the end zone.
Right on. Right on. Both the seller for sure, when you're representing the seller, and the buyer also wants to get to the end zone. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you this question.
Sure.
How powerful is it for you, Mark, when you are representing the seller, where a lender like me is very proactive, taking the initiative, maybe calling you to simply say, hey, Mark, you're about to look at a pre-approval with my name on it, with my signature on it. I can speak to some of the strengths of this buyer. What questions do you have? How powerful is that for you and your seller?
Honestly, that makes me feel really good when a lender reaches out.
Yeah.
Whether their agent says, hey, I'm sending you over the offer tonight. It's 9:00 at night. I'll have the lender reach out to you tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Answer any questions you guys have before you accept this offer. If a lender reaches out to me and talks to me, the confidence level just goes all the way up for my seller.
Of course.
And, it kind of puts me at ease knowing that I feel like I can work with you. I can work with this agent. I feel like I'm working with the best of the best right now.
Yeah.
And I can reassure my seller that, hey, maybe this might not be the best offer. However, I feel the most confident that this is going to get us where we need to be.
Sure. Yeah. And I know this from my own personal experience. When I've bought and sold real estate property, sometimes the best offer is not the best in terms of the dollar figure. It's the best in terms of speed and flexibility, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The best offer is the one that comes in the highest that can actually close.
That's true. That is so true. That is so true. One additional thing I want to ask you to get your opinion on it is this. What if, as you and I are working a transaction together, what if there is this additional cherry on top of the ice cream? And that is, what if from the lender's side, there is a guarantee for the seller, meaning you now have not just our pre-approval, but you have an actual conditional loan commitment. And on top of it, we provide to your seller a guarantee of a dollar value. $5,000, we're going to close. And if we don't, we're going to send monies in the amount of $5,000 to your seller. Do you think that makes a strong impression for them?
Oh yeah, because it seems like you're putting money on the table.
True.
That you're guaranteeing it that at some point, if for some reason you miss something, it's on you.
Exactly. It's a little bit of like an insurance policy, right?
That's absolutely.
All right. So there you have it. For all of you watching Mark and myself tonight, if you happen to already be in Florida and you're now wanting to sell either your primary home, your second home, and or your investment property because you want to do it again, you want to leverage the proceeds from a sale with Mark and Amanda's help to grow your wealth, here is what you've heard as to how he can represent you in the best way possible to protect your interests, to help you get to that end zone. So for tonight, as we wrap up our conversation in real living in Southwest Florida, should you need to start a conversation with Mark, Amanda, and or myself, it's really simple. All you have to do is scan the QR codes that you see here. We are ready, willing, and able to guide you through the process to help you orchestrate that plan that you just heard from Mark at the top of our conversation that is so important. So Mark, as we wrap up tonight, say hello to your beautiful wife for me.
Will do.
Until we see each other in the next episode.
All right. Sounds good. Pleasure.
Have a good night.
All right. We'll see you.